please enjoy the miserable Mrs. Madison!
Only one woman here. Anyway, I'm Felicia Madison. I'm a stand-up comic, so thank you. I'm used to performing on a stage with a microphone, but I was told, this is a one-woman show, Felicia, you shouldn't use a microphone. Right? And I'm like, okay, me performing without a mic is like you going to work without your clothes on. Anyone want to make me feel better? No? That's okay. I'm imagining you all naked anyway. Except for you. Okay, so I'm going to put my mic over here. Here's my security blanket. Oh, okay, I remembered. I'm also used to performing in front of people that are drunk. So, no? I'll have some. Yeah. Okay. I'm ready. My one-woman show. Someone told me I should start with a specific point in time and flash back to it. So, flashback. That's special effects from the Fringe. This is me 3 years ago. Another special effect. Married to a great guy, 3 healthy, beautiful children, a house in the Hamptons, an apartment on the Upper East Side, and I'm miserable! What the fuck is wrong with her? Right? I ask myself that all the time. My friend says to me, Felicia, think of those less fortunate than you. Things could be a lot worse. I'm like, really? If that really worked, only one person in the world would be unhappy. The person on the bottom. And she's probably happy because things couldn't get worse, right? And I say she, because we all know the person on the bottom is female, right? Just because everything on the outside looks okay doesn't mean that that's the case, right? Think of like, I don't know, Princess Diana, right? She was miserable. She was a fucking princess. And at her gold weight. I'm like Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Look at the stuff, isn't it great? Wouldn't you think my life is complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Except a voice. So I'm miserable because for the last year, I've been working on this really amazing idea for a television show about my life. Upper East Side mom by day, stand-up comic by night. And one day I was on my phone and I saw an advertisement for the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Upper West Side mom by day, stand-up by night. It was a good thing I was on the ground floor because I didn't die when I jumped out the window. This was my idea. This ruined everything. Because of Mrs. Maisel, I was the miserable Mrs. Madison. Then I was thinking, well, maybe it's not a completely lost cause. There are differences, right? Maisel's a period piece. I'm current. She's divorced. I'm married. And the biggest difference is she's West Side. I'm East. It's a completely different show. So I actually got to have lunch with the producer of Everybody Loves Raymond. Yeah, it was his idea to do this show. He wanted to call it Everybody Loves an Upper East Side Rich Woman That Complains About Being Miserable All the Time. Too long? I took his advice and I read a book on how to write a one-woman show. And it says, every successful show has a want song. Right, great, I gotta sing again, right? I just need to get a little love. Okay, here we go. I have problems and issues so many. I have eating disorders galore. Cash, I got plenty. I don't care. I'm so bored, I need more. It also said, you're supposed to show your story, not tell it. What the fuck does that mean? Show and not tell? I'm like, okay, I'll show you. That's my mom. Her name's Joby. She grew up on the Lower East Side when the Lower East Side wasn't cool. She was painfully shy and sickly with horrible eczema, asthma, and allergies. And she was naturally skinny. Some women have it all. She was smart, but she didn't go to college, because back then you didn't need a degree to get married. She became a bookkeeper. This is my dad, Leon. He grew up in the Bronx when the Bronx was the Bronx. He was a tough, wild, outgoing guy, a Jewish John Travolta. He didn't graduate from high school, but that was before they realized with time and a half and Adderall, you can go to Harvard. His dad died when he was 4 years old, leaving him to provide for his family. He had to shine shoes. Yeah. So, poor and uneducated, he joined the Navy, the American dream. And then he became a mechanic. They were complete opposites, and a common interest brought them together. It wasn't poverty, it was their love of dance. One night in a dance hall in Manhattan, they met, and my dad swept my mom out of an unhappy childhood and swept her into an unhappy marriage. She had one demand. She said, you need to have $100 in the bank before I'll marry you. Low standards. They got married. They struggled. My dad worked 7 days a week at back-breaking labor. And my mom worked 7 days a week at busting his chops. My dad couldn't wait to give his family everything that he didn't have growing up. He didn't know the love of a father, so he didn't know how to give that. But he knew how to hustle and work, and he started his own company. He went to the top of the Empire State Building, and he walked down on every floor asking, do you have a broken machine? Do you have any machines that need to be fixed? Do you have a broken machine? They had 2 boys, my brothers, and wanting a girl, they had the 3rd. Ta-da! That's when the joy came into their life. They were so thrilled to have me. They named me Felicia Joy. Happiness Joy. It's a tough name to live up to. But they had high hopes for me. I was an adorable baby with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a surprisingly nice nose. I could do no wrong. They doted on me, and my brothers despised me. They'd be in their room for hours setting up their toy soldiers in straight lines. This was before Fortnite. And I'd toddle in and knock them all down. They'd yell. I'd cry. They'd get punished. I'd ice cream. Oops, I did it again. In pursuit of the American dream, my parents moved their expanding family to the suburbs of New Jersey. Not quite the American dream, but that was before Snooki, so I'll give them a break. I grew up in typical middle-class suburbia, row after row of 1960s-style split-level, nondescript houses. From the outside, you couldn't tell what was on the inside. Kind of like me. Some houses were filled with Cadillacs and crystal and cocaine. And other houses were filled with happy families. Yeah, we grew up the poorest family on the richest block. But we got by. Until, in pursuit of the American dream, again, my parents sent me to private school. And that's where my misery began. Y'all with me so far? Yeah. Still not imagining you naked, sir. Okay, so where better better to relive your high school trauma than your actual high school diary. Dear Diary, I'm 16 years old. When will I get boobs and stop breaking out? I hate my new school. My parents are ruining my life. Muffy's having a party this week, and I have nothing to wear. You heard me, Muffy. Now do you feel sorry for me? Let me remind you, back then private school had no diversity. Everyone was called Muffy, Buffy, and so and so and so and so the third. Someone at this school was not like the others. All the girls had big houses, fancy cars, and a pedigree. They were like standard poodles, and I was a mutt. Not the cavapoo, cockapoo, multipoo mutt. The old-fashioned mutt. At this school, all the fathers took showers before work. Mine took his after. All the fathers had graduate degrees. Mine couldn't spell a degree. My dad had tattoos on his arms, grease on his hands, and love in his heart. But I never saw that. All I saw back then was that he was embarrassing. Pulling up in his beat-up blue dirty van behind Mercedes and BMWs, I knew right away something was not right. Bye, Dad. Needless to say, I didn't like growing up the poor girl in my school, so like my father, I worked my ass off. 2 waitressing jobs, in addition to 2 varsity sports, the dance team, just hands, keeping my grades up, and volunteering on the local ambulance corps. Yes, I was EMS trained. Can you say overachiever? Overachiever. I used all my newfound cash to buy clothes and jewelry, and I created what I thought were all these cool outfits. To this day, my Sweet 16 outfit provides a lot of entertainment for my family. They call it the flamingo. I tried. So anyway, here I am at Muffy's party in one of my outfits. Hey, Muffy! Did you ever walk up to 2 people and they just look at you and then go back to talking? Just me? Just stand there and smile? Twirl your hair? Sleep with their boyfriends? Oops, I did it again. I left the party. I called my dad and had him pick me up on the corner. And when I told him what was happening, he said to me, "Oh, they're schmucks. Don't listen to those morons." Okay, can we go home now, Dad? He's like, "That's bullshit. You deserve better than that." That was my dad. He had a temper. He liked to yell things like, "Bullshit, schmuck, moron." My mom defended him. She said, "But he never laid a hand on you." Ooh, Father of the Year. My mom's discipline was completely different. She got what she wanted in her own quiet way. A very quiet way. The silent treatment and the face. The good news is they encouraged us to do whatever we wanted to do with our lives, as long as we were doctors or lawyers. I wanted to be a Broadway dancer, but doctor or lawyer, nothing else. So I went to the University of Pennsylvania and I was pre-med. Check my parents' dreams. I had other plans, or maybe I failed physics. Dear Diary, I'm worried about the freshman 15, so I'm exercising every day. The stress is ruining my skin. I start rush this week. I want to get into 85. The girls seem so cool. I think my mom's mad at me, but I can't tell. College, this is a great place to meet people and make new friends, right? And where better to feel wanted and where you belong than sorority rush? Yeah, I didn't get into 85, the Jewish sorority. I got into Kappa Kappa Gamma, the WASPy one. I guess high school did rub off on me after all. My sisters walked up to me like, "Oh my God, your ring is so gorgeous. Did you get it for Christmas?" I wanted to say, "Oh no, my parents could afford it, so I worked 2 jobs and I paid for it myself, thank you very much, and I'm Jewish." Instead I said, "Yeah, Merry Christmas." I didn't join. No, I decided to dedicate myself to studying. I graduated top of my class, and I succeeded the old-fashioned way. I married my boss. I didn't marry my boss. He only his wife. But don't judge. Back then, it wasn't sexual harassment. It was a weekly review. Eventually, I did marry a really nice guy. It was hard work. It took me 3 years to get my husband to propose to me. And I had to be on my best behavior all that time. Cooking, cleaning, faking it. Our wedding night was pretty close to perfection, because my in-laws paid for it. My favorite part was the father-daughter dance. It wasn't your typical dance, no. My dad led me across every inch of the dance floor, twirling and spinning me. I felt like Cinderella at the ball. And then, the grand finale, the big tip. He dropped me. We all had a big laugh at the time. What we didn't realize back then was that this was the beginning of my father's Parkinson's disease. Dear diary, 28 and married, made the cutoff, woo-hoo! I'm so tired and I'm starting to gain weight. I'm eyeing this new bag Muffy has, hoping I get it for my birthday. My mom's mad. I didn't go with her to the doctor with my dad. I'm busy. I got married. I did it. And the joy left my life. I became Felicia Madison Levy. FML. If you don't know what that means, ask the millennial sitting next to you. The good news is I wasn't the miserable Mrs. Madison anymore. I was the miserable Mrs. Levy. But with cash. I want to be where the socialites are, walking along 5th Avenue, walking along on those, what do you call them? Oh, Louboutins. I had arrived. I moved to Park Avenue. Every new designer bag, diamond, invitation got me so much closer to fulfillment. I had it all. But I still felt like the poorest girl on the second richest block. Yeah. Maybe it was because I was unsatisfied with my career, if you could call it that. I graduated with degrees in chemistry and marketing, which means the only thing I was qualified to do was sell drugs. Profitable, but I didn't do that. I went from job to job to job, never really finding my groove. I went back to school for business, fashion design, interior design. On my tombstone, it's going to say, she tried. One day, I was sitting in my closet crying. I know what you're thinking. She could sit in her closet? I was fired again. I started moping around the house. Oh my God. Is it hereditary? Is that what my mom's face was? Is she depressed and unfulfilled like me? Which would explain, when I was about 10 years old, she started taking all these classes. One day, she dragged my father along with her to an art class. The teacher in the class noticed my dad sitting there very bored, and he handed him a hunk of clay. My dad took the clay and started molding his big, burly, greasy hands over the clay. He looked up at his wife, down at the clay. Up at his wife, down at the clay. He was so engulfed, he didn't notice the teacher and the class gathering around with their mouths opened. When he finally looked up and took his hands away, he too was amazed to see a perfect bust of his wife. Good story, right? Way to go, Dad! This began a lifelong passion for him. He began studying with artists. He went to visit museums and quarries to pick out stone. He won numerous awards and even appeared on the cover of the New York Times. Yes, the New York Times. Yeah, he built a studio for himself in our backyard with his own hands, and he spent all his free time there with his two favorite things in the whole wide world. His sculptures and his dog. Go figure, this uneducated grease monkey became more sophisticated and cultured than the Harvard grads. My dad found his marvelous in a hunk of clay. Where would I find my marvelous? Maybe motherhood. My mom's motherly advice: don't become a full-time mom. It's a very unsatisfying, unfulfilling career. Do something with your life. I'm like, yeah, it was unfulfilling for you because you did such a lousy job. I was going to do it right and show her. So I had 3 kids, and she was right. So this is where I show you pictures of my children, but they wouldn't let me. So if I can't show you, I'm gonna tell you. And what a better way to tell you than my comedy routine. Yeah, I'm gonna show those kids. So yeah, they wouldn't let me show their pictures, like they're not totally overexposed on Instagram. Have you seen my daughters on Instagram? They look like total sluts. And I'm like, girls, what are you doing? Teach me. So they tell me to make a smize, which is when you raise your eyebrow and smile. And I'm like, you see this? This doesn't move anymore. So then they told me to just look down and suck. And I'm like, ooh, I don't do that anymore either. So my youngest daughter, she's the most like me. She looks like me, she acts like me. I can't stand her. She just turned sweet 16. That's a misnomer. They got those names mixed up. They have terrible twos. It should be sweet twos, and get the fuck out of my house, 16. And my oldest one is nothing like me. She's a double D. She gets it from her father. When she was a teenager, she was diagnosed with a learning disorder that made it very difficult for her to express her feelings. So we decided not to treat her. She's my favorite. And my son, I always say, with me doting on him all the time and my sisters annoying the hell out of him, I taught them well, he's gonna be a really great husband. Or a fashion designer. No, he's amazing. You know, he calls me once a week, right after I change the Netflix password. My mom gives me great advice now. She always gives me the best advice with my kids, and I always walk away from my conversations from her and I think, where the fuck was she when I was growing up? She always tells me, it's so much harder raising kids now. I'm like, yeah, that generation, they were so laid back. They needed to be reminded to look for us. Remember this? It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? What the fuck? I know where my kid is every second of the day. I just pull out my phone. Oh, she's making a left on 97th and 5th in her Uber right now. And disciplining, that was easy for her. All she had to do was say, wait till your father gets home. And we listened. The best I could do is, wait till Dad gets home. I'm sending him in for another boring lecture. And my son, he looks at me, he goes, Mom, please, just hit me. So yeah, I was a full-time mom. People would ask me what I do. I'd say, oh, I'm just a mom. And they would always say, ooh, that's the best job in the world. Right? I work 24/7, no vacation, no pay, and after 20 years of busting my chops, I'm fired. My employees walk up to me and they say, you're not fair, you're annoying, can you leave? And my boss sexually harasses me every day. Yeah. My life was filled with whining, complaining, temper tantrums, and schlepping them everywhere. It wasn't all bad. We had some happy memories from my childhood. One of my favorite was our ski trips out west. Yeah, it turns out a manual laborer can make a decent living. Just check the latest plumbing bill. I remember my dad tying my skates tight or buckling my ski boots and throwing my skis over his shoulder, taking me to the slope. Those were good times. We decided to make a family tradition out of it, and we had an annual ice skating outing. And one year, we were skating in Central Park, all having fun, and I noticed my father. He kept losing his balance and falling. I thought it was funny at the time. Dear Diary, still haven't lost the baby weight. I've tried everything. My skin is wrinkling and I noticed a gray hair. Excited for my daughter to start kindergarten. Maybe I'll get involved with the Parents Association. My mom and dad abandoned me. They moved to Florida. How dare they? When my daughter was old enough, we decided to send her to a fancy private school. Time for her misery. And I thought, wow, this is a great place for me to meet new moms and make new friends. I was so excited for the new parent coffee. I walked in and I said, hi, I'm Felicia. I'm Alex's mom. I stand there and smile, twirling hair, sleep with their husbands. I didn't sleep with their husbands. Have you seen them? No, I decided to join the Parents Association, the nicest, most inclusive group of women ever. Yeah, I chaired the school benefit. I worked really hard and I raised a ton of money for these poor, underprivileged private school kids. They were making the announcements for positions for the following year and I was so excited. I paid my dues. I couldn't wait to see what I got. And I got nothing. Nothing. Not even safety patrol. No one wants safety patrol. I was so upset. I called my husband. I'm not going back to that school ever again. Little PTSD there, sorry. I slowly walked home through the park, regaining my composure, looking forward to going home to the three things that always cheered me up. Tequila, Xanax, and my dog. Did I mention my dog? I love my dog. It's a cavapoo. Not a mutt, not a poodle. Cavapoo. We had a hard time naming our dog, and someone suggested that we think of things that we love. So my kids came up with names like Sushi, Chip, Yankee. I chose Cash. But my husband won the name game, and I came home, and I opened the door, and I said, BJ, come! I went in the house, I grabbed my bottle of tequila. Someone's been drinking my tequila. I was going to find out. So I came up with this really good plan, and I went through my house and marked all the bottles of alcohol into the fill line. And I did this for a month. And you know what I found out? I'm an alcoholic. Yeah. Also addicted to Ambien. Yeah. I love it when I tell people I'm addicted to Ambien. They say to me, have you tried melatonin? That's like saying to someone who's addicted to crack, Have you tried tea? So marrying didn't help, kids didn't help, addiction definitely didn't help. I was still the miserable Mrs. Levy. I found out that I was suffering from postpartum depression since birth. My birth. Do you know that 30% of women are on antidepressants? Yeah, which means 70% of women are depressed. What's the secret to happiness? Anyone know? Is it following your dreams? Unconditional love from your parents? Being friends with Buffy? Fuck it, I didn't get any of that. So, I was entitled to be miserable. Dear Diary, I am 49 and my dad is dying. I wish I had told him that I loved him more and that I was proud of him. My dad lay dying somewhere in the middle of New Jersey in a hospice facility. Yeah, I know, I'm a bad daughter who lets their father die in New Jersey. Mrs. Levy, your father was being violent and we had to sedate him with morphine. He wasn't being violent. That's his normal behavior. And he's hungry. He hasn't eaten. He wants a muffin. Can we get him a muffin? Mrs. Levy, when you're in hospice and sedated on morphine, we are unable to feed the patients as we fear they can choke to death. You're fucking kidding me, right? You're starving him to death and you're worried he's gonna choke on a muffin? Get him a muffin! Get him a muffin now! He got the muffin. Mom, he's not dying. He has more time. We have to get him out of here. Felicia, they're just changing his medicines, and then as soon as they do that, we can take him home. They're schmucks. They're morons. Don't listen to them. My brothers try to reassure me. They said, Felicia, Dad wouldn't want to live this way. Let him go. I'm like, that's bullshit. I was Daddy's little girl, and I knew he'd want to fight to the finish. I grabbed his hand. The hand that was once so strong. The hand that heaved heavy machinery, tied my skates tight, and led me across the dance floor. These hands, for most of my life, were an embarrassment. I didn't see the greatness in them. All I saw were the tattoos on his arms, the grease put underneath his fingernails and ingrained in the creases of his skin. I leaned over and whispered in his ear, "You deserve better than this, Daddy. I'm sorry. I love you." That was the last time I saw my father. I didn't dance for a year after my father's funeral. After a while, I started doing things to cheer me up. I took up yoga, something my father liked. I woke up in high school to which was my dad on his head in his tighty whities. He was a self-taught yogi, a real Renaissance man. Didn't work. I took up meditation. My mom calls it napping. I do transcendental meditation, which is expensive napping. And this is how it works. You get this nonsensical mantra that you're not allowed to tell anyone, but since it's my one-woman show, I'll share it with you. Repeat after me. It goes, Noram, Noram, Noram. And after doing this for about a month, I realized spelled backwards, it's moron. Dad? Is that you, Dad? Yeah, nothing worked. I tried volunteering with cancer patients, AA meetings, therapy. Nothing worked. I needed to find people that were as pathetic and sad as me. And I found them at an open mic. I took up comedy. your children's dreams. Mom, guess what? I'm doing stand-up. But you're not funny. Remember, they parented differently back then. No positive reinforcement or trophies for last place. They used a method called honesty. I don't know where you got this from. You didn't get it from me. No shit, Sherlock. It's funny, I didn't see that either. I spent so much time hiding behind my insecurities that I missed so much. I was ashamed and embarrassed again. Mom, guess what? I'm gonna do a one-woman show and it's gonna be all about Dad and how his journey inspired me. I slaved over you kids and you're doing a story about Dad? Well, Dad's dead, I can be honest. I promise when you die, I'll do one about you. It could be a silent movie. Look at me, I became the modern Mrs. Maisel, the lady who lunches, ripping off her designer clothes, dropping my Prada bag, putting on my ripped jeans and t-shirt, hopping on the subway downtown to the grungy clubs filled with hope and passion-filled millennials. Yeah. They say comedy is like a drug. Once you try it, you're hooked. I cured my ADD. Now I was getting lots of attention. People at parties were walking up to me and saying things like, Felicia, it's so cool how you reinvented yourself with this comedy thing. Or, oh, you're so brave. I can never do that. That takes a lot of guts. Or my favorite, oh my God, have you seen The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? I was the opposite of the Little Mermaid. I had it all, and I wanted less. Down where they're broke, down where they joke, down where they stay all day in a club. Hang in there, that's my last song, I promise. I wanna be part of that world. My husband said to me one day, Felicia, you know the last time I saw you this happy? When? Never. Dear Diary, I had my one-woman show today. It went... My family, I love them so much. They're my pride and joy. My mom seems content now. I love spending time with her. I'm so lucky to have her. I have so many great friends who are always there for me, especially at all my shows. And Muffy? Fuck Muffy. But I am going to her party tomorrow. My dad, I realize now, he did the best that he could do. And that was pretty fucking amazing. He taught me to work hard, don't listen to schmucks, and never stop looking, because it's never too late to find your marvelous.